Hi everyone, this is Dr. Christina Rahm, and we are talking about Cure the Causes today and DRC Ventures en route. We're really getting into what probably is my favorite topic, and that is what we can do to mentor and intern others in their lives. And we have the beautiful Shanna Clewley here today, and she is one of the top ambassadors at the Root Brands, and then my coworker, one of the executives at Root and DRC Ventures, this is Patrick Moen, and we're just going to talk a little bit about how this started as a female empowerment, but we're going to give some of the history to the audience of really where the Rahm Foundation has gone and what we've done, for the last 23 years. So it's been a long journey. The Rahm Foundation started actually because of my son, Duquesne. He was in kindergarten and he wanted to do fundraisers for kids that didn't have money and that he felt like needed help. And so he was going to a private school, and we started the Rahm Foundation and started a Halloween fundraiser that he and a bunch of his soccer friends and basketball friends all ran, and all the parents. And I realized during that, oh my gosh, I need to formally form a 501c. And so that was probably around the year, I think it was year 2000. When we first applied for status, and we did it in the state of Alabama. And at that time, I didn't even know I needed to do a federal, foundation. I didn't even understand foundations internationally either. I was so much younger and just wanted to fulfill something that my son thought was a dream. And so the Rahm Foundation grew from doing fundraisers for kids and raising a little money to doing major things like auctions and fashion shows and fundraisers for Vanderbilt for people that were paralyzed. We did a lot of stuff. We would pick a foundation every year to raise money for through the Rahm Foundation and then give them money. And then when the kids got to be in middle school, I started understanding that I was running businesses throughout the United States and some internationally. And I realized that parents here in Nashville, Tennessee, that were CEOs of major corporations, their own kids didn't know how to start companies or what to do when they went to work or how to do an article of incorporation or operating agreements. And I thought, gosh, this would be a great opportunity and a skill set if we started every year doing this intern mentorship program. So that basically grew into having 10 to sometimes 12 to 15 kids every year. And we are currently doing this, and we're going to talk a little bit about it in DRC Ventures and in Root. And there's been a lapse, a couple of years where I wasn't as strong in the Rahm Foundation because of all the work internationally. And you know how it is with all the stuff we do. Yeah. But you guys have brought this back to life because wanting to make sure that women are mentoring other women has become a huge thing for me. But I don't want to let go of the fact that we also need to mentor men, which is one of the things we're all going to talk about today, because you have a son as well, and you know how important it is, not just for your daughter to be mentored, but also for your son. So I want you to tell people why you decided to be part of the Rahm Foundation and the mentorship program, and how you think it fits into Root and DRC Ventures, and why this is a passion of yours as well. Because to give your time to this, you're taking time away from your business and other stuff. So I would love to hear your heart and your mission and why this is important to you.
Absolutely. So I actually, years ago, whenever I was really young, so I was a teen mom myself whenever my daughter was born. So after that, I went back to the school that I graduated from, and then it exploded in different schools throughout Colorado. I actually did mentorship with teens who were teen moms and different things that they did. And I also worked as a mentor at a juvenile facility for the young girls that were going through a lot of trauma and abuse. So being a mentor and being able to impact a young person's life is really, really important. And through that time, I was actually awarded the Susan B. Anthony Young Leader Award.
Oh, wow.
To be able to impact, because of the impact we had, because we can't just expect people to change. We have to target the generation that are not getting the valuable time with others that they need in order to grow themselves into wonderful young men and women. And I worked with the young women and everything. So it's just been really, really something that I've done for a long time in one retrospect. And then coming from being a stay-at-home mom and being able to build my own business and be successful, it's very important to let these young kids know that they can do it and that their life circumstances should not be stopping them, but helping them grow into being able to accomplish the things that they can so that they can impact the next generation themselves.
That's amazing. Because I have to tell you, because I had 3 boys and then I had a daughter, I would say 99% of the interns were men or males. I mean, they were young. Like we had, I think with the exception of Preston, and there was one of his best friends, Jackson Bird, I think they were in 6th grade. Because, I mean, I let some younger kids in, but, you know, we set precedences for the kids. You have to either show up or you're going to be fired. You have to follow the rules of the company. And at the time I was a CEO of DC2 and DOC when we really started getting majorly into this. And it was interesting because I think it works really well for women to mentor other women.
Yes.
And I think there's a lack of that, but I also think there's a lack of men mentoring men, and there's more programs out there really for that. But for us, because I had the boys, it became predominantly male. And then the more I grew in my career, I'm like, we've really got to target more women. But it's such a need. Like in life, it's hard to be a teenager.
Yes.
It's hard to learn a skill set, and you know, we just expect them to know, and we expect them to do things. I know Patrick can tell you, like Kreider's interning right now. Oh. I think Preston was finished interning when you started, but you've been there with Micah Smallwood, whose mother was in here a second ago, and then Malik's getting ready to start. And I know that Kreider came home and said, I'm just going to share this with you, Mom. Patrick's one of my favorite people because he's so nice to me and he's so patient with me. I wanted to tell you that. So he actually told his brothers that too. And so I'd love for you to share why this program is important to DRC Ventures and Root. And also I want to talk about why we picked certain people in the community to start the program with us.
Yeah, I think one that was very sweet of him, you have to constantly remind yourself that, I mean, Kreider, he is very mature. And so I'm constantly reminding myself of where he is at in his career. And I think back to when I first started, you didn't know everything. And so you looked to other individuals, whether they were positive or negative influences on you, to give you that guidance. Ted Baker was that for me when I was much younger, when I first met him, of just helping me with the guidance. But yes, we've had several individuals just come through, and I think it's important that we instill not only good business ethics, but also values, right? Life values, family values, what it takes to be a good person, a good human being, because by doing that, we're helping change the world. And I think that's what makes it so important. And that's why I'm so excited that the Rahm Foundation has really exploded in the last couple of years of helping individuals, helping children, especially now with everything that's going on in the world. I think it's very much unsettling to see certain aspects and to know that we're making a positive change in individuals' lives. I think the first round of individuals we have in the Rahm Foundation that we've selected for the mentorship program are absolutely phenomenal people.
And now some of them work with us.
They do.
Now some of them went and got new jobs, and now some of them work with us. We don't want to make them work with us, but it's really interesting because I'm excited about you guys bringing them in. At our company, they just have to follow our rules. If they don't follow our rules, if they're not incorporated into the meetings, then they don't last there, and it's not the place for them. And I think we've been successful at this and incorporating individuals into the company, as well as some of the individuals that have gone outside and are now in other jobs and very happy, because we've held them accountable. But it was a great point that he made, and I'm sure you saw this when you did your mentorship with people. It's great to show them your flaws. It's great to show them your failure. It's also great to show them experiences of success that they see around them and empowerment. And I think one of the reasons the Rahm Foundation has been successful at doing it is because of the strong leadership of men and women. And I look forward to you bringing in mentor after mentor, because I think, you know, one of the things we're dedicated to is not just sponsoring these programs, but also taking this group, once we grow them, to do a lot of nonprofit and fundraising and give back. Because in life, if you just teach kids to make money, but not to give back, then you've already taught them part of it. So I'd love for you to share how you plan on running the mentorship with what you're going to do. And I know we're at the beginning stages because we've just set all this up, and I forgot even when I was meeting with you guys, oh my gosh, we're already doing all this in our company, and I didn't transfer that knowledge, which we'll make sure that we get that transferred. But I really, with women, I'm just speaking honestly, I think it's probably easier in some ways for me to mentor boys.
Yeah.
I have more experience with them because of having 3 and just 1 daughter. But I also really want us not to let go of trying to help women, because it's not easy to be a female.
Yeah.
It's not easy to navigate the changes in the world right now. So I'd love for you to share what you plan on doing and how you want to help people throughout the world.
Absolutely. I am so excited to be able to share with women the ability to be kind to one another, that there doesn't have to be a competition, that we are supposed to accept and love one another and uplift each other, because we are supposed to be crowns of glory to the rest of the world, right? And as women, we have a huge impact on the world. And to be able to teach women that that is empowering, and to do it in a way that's healthy for others, and to love one another, is going to be a huge impact on the world, to be able to unite them together, because I feel like we're kind of a scattered army. And if we bring one another together and uplift one another, that we're going to have a huge impact, because a lot of the times we are leaders in our home and with our children, and raising different children, or being leaders in the workforce. And we need to be united in that, so that we can bring about positive change instead of like picketing or picking at each other. We need to be encouraging each other and holding each other accountable as well. So that's one thing I'm excited to teach young girls, is to know their worth and to know each other's worth, and then how to incorporate that to be successful. And the kindness that you exude draws people in, and then you're able to train and uplift others as well. And then you're able to also uplift one another for whenever you go through challenges and things to support, so that you're not alone. Because I think a lot of women feel like they're alone, and they shouldn't be. And so being able to change that at an age, and to teach that at an age where a lot of girls don't understand that, because there's so much noise with social media and some of the music that's out there and the things that they see on the street and everything, that it's something that's not taught a lot. So I think that's going to be very empowering for women, to bring back that femininity and not have to compete with one another. So that's one of the main aspects I'm going to love to do.
I think that's amazing. Your heart is so good. It's easy to see it, Shanna. It really is, and you're not manipulative. You know, you're not trying to mislead people. One of the things, I think it's harder sometimes to work with other women. Yeah. And I have lots of female friends, which is really different a lot of times from women that are in business, but I always have. I do see a gap, though, in even the competition between women. Like I think men are competitive, but they really like working on teams. Mm-hmm. And women, you know, the chaos, the gossip, the manipulation, it just has to end. And often we're so nice, we don't want to lay down the law and say we're not going to participate or be a part of this. And so it's really important to me as a group that we set that dynamic. And I even had to deal with some stuff over yesterday and over the weekend, setting that. It's hard because we want to like love everyone, but part of love and mentorship is also being stern. Yes. And not allowing manipulation or chaos or gossip or lying or any of those things, because they're just not okay. Mm-hmm. And I really want this program to help people more and more. You don't get as much of that with men. I have to say, I hate categorizing people, but with the boys I've interned, and most of the girls I've interned and mentored, I haven't seen a lot of that, but it's something I really want us to continuously approach, because one of the reasons I think sometimes men don't want women as part of their group is because that's just, we don't have time for that, right? Mm-hmm. It interferes with business, it negates it. And I personally think that when women or men do that, they should be fired. Mm-hmm. And they should be let go, because it destroys companies and people and families, right? And friendships. So there's a core value. We have a spreadsheet that and slide deck that you guys saw a little bit of, but we're going to talk about tomorrow more, that we're really going to bring into play with each of the mentors and the interns. And I probably should have started with the word interns instead of mentors, because for me, it's great to be a mentor to someone. But if you don't teach them a skill set that they can bring into the company, and I really, we talked about this, I don't want it to come from the Root community or DRC Ventures unless it just happens to fall into people's laps. It really should be people outside that we're teaching something new. And that's what we've done with all of ours. Like none of those people that have come in worked for DRC Ventures or Root. They're all new. I knew some of the parents, or he knew some of the people, but they're all people that really came to us, if I'm honest, and asked us if they can do the intern mentorship. And so we incorporated them in. And those are the kind of people I want that really want to learn and want to develop a skill set, because in life right now, in our world, not doing something and just sitting there and not accomplishing things or helping doesn't work anymore. I mean, our economy doesn't have the ability to withstand that. We've grown as a population all over the world. And I said this, it sounds so cold, but if you're going to be part of this world, you better be participating and contributing. Or I tell my kids all the time, if you're not, what's the point of you being here? Do you know what I mean? Like, and I know that sounds harsh, but I feel like I help all the interns and mentors, know that. And I would love to ask you how you feel about that, because I know your heart is so good and kind, but how are you going to feel about if the mentor or intern doesn't do their job or doesn't show up? How will you handle that?
So it's going to go back to whenever I'm homeschooling. Sometimes we're the cap of the teacher and the mom and going to sports and the principal and everything. And you have to set precedent first, and you have to set expectations. And one of those expectations I actually learned from you whenever you were talking about your kids. Whenever they come to you with a problem, you wouldn't accept the problem unless they already had a solution.
Right.
And I think that is one of the number one things we need to teach at the very beginning. So whenever you set expectations and then you hold yourself accountable and you write down the expectations and you say, but you also have to be willing to do the expectation that you set. I always taught my kids that consequences can be good or bad, but you never say you're going to do something unless you're going to do it. There's no empty promises and there's no empty threats, right?
No, and you can't say you did something and you didn't.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Because I always tell the kids, did you do that? And they're like, well, I'm like, there's no wells. Did you do it or not? No. I was telling a story earlier with Tiffany that, like, I asked one of my kids, I won't mention his name, were you drinking last night? Or did you have a party at the house? No. And then, of course, I was able to pull up some proof that something happened. And the answer was, well, it didn't start until the morning. I'm like, no, you just misled me. You told a half truth. And he's a very amazing individual, but you have to teach people growing up, or else they'll become adults that tell half truths.
Yes.
Manipulates, tell people they do things that they don't do. And you've got to teach that. I know Dawson's over there. One of the things I love about Dawson is he tells the harsh truth. Right? And I think one of the reasons Patrick's good at what he does is he holds people accountable. So even though he may, like Malik and Micah and Kreider and Jayla, if they don't do their jobs, and Jayla's no longer an intern, she's now running the fashion mall thing, but then they have the same consequences. It just doesn't work, You don't get a paycheck for free.
No. And I feel like as the mentor and everything of these young people, that if they fail, we have failed. So it falls first on us. So in order for it to be successful, we have to be willing to do what it takes to grow them. And sometimes hard lessons are needed.
Sometimes growing them is firing them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Sometimes teaching people to do the right thing if they refuse to do it. Because I do agree we're accountable, but you can't make people do the right thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of the hardest lessons I probably learned in my life. I can't make someone work or make someone not lie. And so it is hard, though, because I'm like you. I'm sure we're very similar. I mean, I want to make them succeed. And I think that takes a lot of work. But in the end, each person has to be accountable to. And we've had some hard lessons at work. I mean, we've let people go that were extremely hard, even interns. That's really hard, but you try your best.
Right.
And that's why I think doing the 30, 60, 90-day plans with everyone is so important. And then if they're working out, you can either hire them or keep them in the intern. We've had some interns for years and some for a short period, and then we transition them. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Really excited.
So I'm excited, and I'm very thankful that you're doing this with us. And my goal is to start because we're already doing it inside, is to have people outside and then to grow it as quickly as possible, not just in the United States, of course, but internationally, because you're a leader, you're a businesswoman, you're a healer, you're a mother, you're a multidimensional person that's helping people all over. And you can be that and still be kind and loving, which you are. And so I just want to thank you for being part of this and taking time away from your family and your new grandchild, granddaughter, to be here, because time is one of our most valuable assets too. So one of the big discussions we're going to talk about tomorrow that I want to start with the interns and the mentees is you're taking your time to do that with them. So they can't waste your time. They have to be dedicated, which is why I love it. Like Malik Archie, texted me, Miss Christina, I want to do an internship. Can I do an intern? I love it when kids come to me. Actively. I mean, he's not even a kid. He's an adult. He's 18. But you know what I mean? He's still, Patrick's right. You still have to remember, okay, they're 18, and you know this because you have kids, but they still have not experienced the world like we have. And so you still have to understand. Sometimes I forget, like, wait a minute, they don't get this? No, they don't get this. Because how would they know?
It's our job to guide and to help them maneuver life. But sometimes that maneuvering means they have to take responsibility for what they did. And sometimes you have to fall, because a seed has to take root in order to grow. And sometimes that seed has to die, because death comes from the seed in order for it to grow. And that comes with life experiences too. And sometimes the detriment is keeping kids from that.
That was really beautifully said. I mean, that was amazing. I hope the audience hears that. And I'd like for people to know how they can get in touch with you. So we'll put your information at the bottom if you don't mind. I know I don't want you to get bombarded, but the truth is, if a mentor it's like a supervisor can work with more than one person, as long as it's not too much. But sometimes one person feels like 10. So each individual will just be different. And we're dedicated to sponsoring it wherever it's needed. But we're not dedicated to sponsoring something where they're not actively working at developing the skill set, which is why I think I should have started with the word intern instead of mentor. But I don't think you can grow an intern unless you do have the mentorship part.
Agreed.
So thank you so much, Shanna. And I look forward to it. And I thank you for being here for this weekend, because we've gotten to do so many things, but we have a lot more to do. So thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.